So without further ado, it's a great honour for me to introduce on stage the one and only Mr. Neal Morse. Come on.
Hi everyone, the other night I had the real pleasure, and it was an absolute pleasure, of seeing Neal Morse at the Cavern Club in Liverpool, playing 100% Beatles set. Now, before anybody comments, it's not the real Cavern Club. I'm well aware of the history of the Cavern Club, but just to see Neal in any venue is special. Never mind such a historic venue such as the Cavern. If you don't know, Neal Morse is a famous prog rock singer, songwriter, and I discovered him when he was in his initial band, Spock's Beard, with this album, V. Superb album, an absolute banger, that is. He first came onto the scene in 1995. Can you believe it? With this album, The Light. Believe it or not, that's a CD. And he left Spock's Beard after the magnum opus, I think it's the magnum opus, Snow, double album about a boy with special powers. Brilliant, that is. Now that is a good listen. That is a good listen. Snow by Spock's Beard. And Neal is incredibly busy. He's in loads of bands, probably most significantly for me, Transatlantic. That's the first album, SMPTE. Transatlantic's a supergroup. Mike Portnoy, Ron Stoll to the Flower Kings, Pete Travaris of Marillion. Notorious for long songs, but a great band, I went to see them a few years ago at Manchester Academy. That's actually on this live CD, and they played a 79-minute set and a 71-minute set with a little break in the middle, and it was an awesome concert. Anyway, at the Cavern Club, it was advertised on his Facebook page. Coming to the Cavern Club, it's a 45-minute set, free to watch, but you pay to get in the Cavern's £5, which is fine, because this used to have people wandering in and just sitting in there because it's the Cavern Club and taking up space where people want to watch bands and buy a drink, and so it's £5 to get in, and well worth it. It is, whatever version of the Cavern it is, it's well worth a visit. Now, I was quietly stood there, pint of lager, waiting for it to start. The man walks past me on the way to the toilets, and I thought, is that Neal? Anyway, stood there, and he walked past. I was wearing this, which is a Transatlantic t-shirt with his handsome face on it. And he walked past, saw the t-shirt and went, how are you doing? Thanks for coming. And grabbed my hand and started shaking it. What a nice bloke. They say never meet your heroes. I've met Greg Lake, who was a lovely man. I've met John Anderson, a lovely man. And now I've met Neal Morse. All big musical heroes of mine, and all were really nice people. On to the concert. It was funny. One thing about Neal, he always thoroughly enjoys himself on stage. When the Compare MC was introducing him, he says, I bet it's full of prog rock fans tonight. And there's this big whoo went up, which I thought was really funny. So Neal come on, it was him on acoustic guitar, and he had a keyboard with him. I was expecting him just to be on the acoustic guitar. We all know Neal's a huge Beatles fan. 20 or so years ago, he was in a tribute band called Yellow Matter Custard, a Beatles tribute band with Mike Portnoy and Paul Gilbert. I can't remember the name of the bass player, excuse me. That was superb. So Neal is a well-known massive Beatles fan. So he explained, I'm going to do a pretty deep dive into the Beatles catalogue and play the hits at the end. And he did do. What was really funny, he did the Joe Cocker version of With a Little Help from My Friends. And he says, we're going to have the full Woodstock experience. And he even did the female backing singers. It was hilarious.
Somebody asked me if I was going to do a prog version. This is about as prog as it's going to get, I think. I can feel Woodstock coming on. Comes in late. Basically, keeps going. Something. As he forgot to come in. What would you do if I said out to? Would you stand up and walk out on me?
So, Neal Morse, whilst a lot of his music's quite serious, he doesn't seem to take himself. He has a fantastic sense of humour, and, you know, pure joy. It was pure joy the evening. It did a real wide gamut from the White Album to, you know, the Beatles hits, ending with The End quite fittingly. Very rarely he was given an encore. The MC says, we don't usually do this at the Cavern, but we're going to do one more song. So 45 minutes turned into an hour. It fascinated me as somebody known for doing an evening with and playing 2.5 hour shows. How was he going to fit it into 45 minutes? And it was a very, very, very well curated race through the Beatles. Personally, I could have listened to him for 3 hours. It was that enjoyable. So I think everybody had a great time. I want to say hello to don't like to be watching this, but there was an Australian couple, and sorry, but I couldn't resist taking a bit of concert footage that I'll share separately. And somebody pointed to my phone, and this Australian woman said, "That's a bit dark." So afterwards, I turned around and smiled, and she goes, "I'm really sorry. I thought you were my husband who stood next to me." So I said, "Do we look like brothers?" And we had a laugh. And this really, really amused me. They said, "We've been in Liverpool for 3 days, and every night we've come here. We've got to say, he's been the best artist." And I said, "I should think so. He's a big star." "Oh, we'll Google him. So we have, we've new Neal Morse fans now in the world, which is can only be a good thing. It can only be a good thing. So there you go. It's Neal Morse at the Cavern Club. What a special night! And Neil thoroughly enjoyed it. You could tell he wanted. He could have played for 3 hours, and maybe Yellow Matter Custard should give it another whirl and play for about 4, 5, 6 hours, which they would do. They would do. So thank you, Neil, for coming. Thank you for just randomly saying hello to me. It really, really, the concert made me evening, but this made it extra special to me. One of my musical heroes, not queuing up for a meet and greet, but him just to see his face on a t-shirt and go, "Really nice to see you. Thanks for coming." What a lovely man. What an absolute lovely man Neal Morse is, and a fantastic musician. As I say, if you want to get started on a bit of Neil, Spock's Beard V is a very good starting point. At the end of the day, 16 minutes. It's got some shorter songs. Then it's got the 27-minute epic, The Great Nothing. But it's also got a fun little pop song all on a Sunday on there. I've got some of his solo CDs back there as well. Anything Neil does is good. Recently, he did a solo album called The Neal Morse Band. And there's a song called Bird on a Wire. That was brilliant. That was real heavy prog. And he's in that many bands, I kind of lose track sometimes. He's an incredibly busy guy. So he does a lot of faith concerts, being a Christian. And it's something I really admire. I enjoy his music. I think he comes across as a really nice, honest guy. And meeting him, albeit briefly, a little bit starstruck. And especially when he's coming out the gents' toilets. The Cavern Club does not have many VIP facilities, but a great venue. So if you're ever in Liverpool, give the Cavern Club a try. As I say, it's for £5 to get in, which I don't begrudge. And there's lots of memorabilia in there for you Beatles and Mersey Beat fans. If you're in Liverpool, tourists, get away from Matthew Street. Get up Bold Street a bit. It's far better. Get on Castle Street. Castle Street's the new area. We're going there very very shortly for our 11th wedding anniversary. My wife and I, we're going for a meal down Castle Street. So if you're in Liverpool and want to, everybody seems to gravitate to Matthew Street, which is fine. I understand. Bold Street's great. Castle Street's great. Get out the touristy bits. Go mix with us. Even though I don't sound like a Liverpool local, I've lived in Merseyside for 14 years now. Wow. So I'm I'm geographically local, and Liverpool is a great city to visit. I tend not to go. I tend not to go to the touristy bits. Yeah, so I'm more Bold Street, Castle Street, and yeah. Right, there he goes. A smorgasbord of Neal Morse, both shaking hands and his music. So thank you, Neal, for visiting Liverpool. It sounded like you had a great time. Please come back. You'll always be welcome back in Liverpool. So fantastic. What a night. Thanks for watching, everybody. And I'll see you soon.